the most successful people are those that follow their passion. This week, we get to meet two incredible ladies who've been very successful in the beauty industry right here in Kenya. Thank you so much for joining me right here at the Southern Sun Mayfair Hotel. My name is Terryanne, and this is the Skin Therapy Show. Once again, thank you so much for joining us on this week's edition of the Skin Therapy Show. I'm your host, Terryanne. Joining me on set are two lovely ladies, Sheila Mwanyiga.
Hello.
And Terryanne Chebet.
Hello.
Welcome to the Skin Therapy Show, guys.
Thank you.
You look lovely.
And you look, as always, wonderful.
How does it feel to be on the other side?
Crazy weird.
Weird. I'm actually freaking out because you guys are the gurus of the industry. I don't know what to ask you, but I'm going to
no, it's the other way around. Maybe we used to be, I don't know. I know how to ask questions. I don't know how to answer questions.
We're sitting here thinking, we hope we make it fun for you.
Okay.
And then we don't end up asking you the questions.
Oh my God, no, don't do that. I will lose my job. Don't do that, please. So let's make this fun.
Okay.
And I'll start with you, Terryanne. Please just tell us more about yourself. We know you are a celebrity. People know you. But please, just for the sake of formality, please just tell us about yourself and what you do.
All right. I don't like the celebrity line. but I used to be on TV. I was a host for a business show on Citizen called Citizen Business Center. Right now, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm running an agency called Scala Digital and Care Organics, which is a natural skincare line, skin and hair now. And we've recently expanded to men's line. So it's been an exciting few months just to try and get my footing, as well as not get used to a proper salary at the end of the month.
Okay. Sheila? Well, my journey is pretty similar to Terryanne's, being on radio and working on television for many years, and then finding myself in a position where I've got to reinvent and start something else. And so I created my online talk show, Sheila Lives Out Loud. And there I get to tell the stories that I believe should be told, which is a beautiful thing. Everybody's got something to put on the table. And also the magazine Rembesha. It's Kenya's first digital and print hair and beauty magazine and directory. A resource for anybody who's looking for hair and beauty services and products locally.
So, ladies, from the media industry, radio, TV, Terryanne, how did you find yourself, coming up with such a strong line that has been doing so well in the country? Beauty, media, they don't go together.
I mean, I find myself asking myself that question all the time. What does a journalist know about skincare? But I think a business is a business. You know, the foundations that run a business are the same. So I found people who know what they're doing in that space. I'm, formulator, and I spoke to people in different spaces in skincare and hair care, just to find out what do people want, what are they looking for. And once I found that gap, I said, okay, I know how to build brands, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. So this is not really something that you can say it is your passion or something that you've always wanted to do.
I actually have always wanted to do it, and in a sense, I have always done it. Around about 2007, I used to make body scrubs with coffee and sugar and olive oil, and I would use it at home. And then my friends would come if they had a sleepover. They'd go, "What is that?" And I'm like, "I can make it. I can make it for you." And then that's how I started thinking of turning it into a business. But if I look at some of my diaries or my journals from around about 2003, 2004, I actually used to write down, I'm going to start a skincare line.
Wow.
I'm going to start an organic skincare.
Wow.
But it took a while, but it finally got off the ground about a year and a half ago. So it's an exciting space to be and learning every day.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Sheila can agree with me.
Yeah.
When you've done the same thing, radio, TV, for so many years, you need a new challenge. You need something, different to wake up to every morning. Yeah.
Terryanne, where do we go wrong when it comes to marketing in the beauty industry?
First is money.
Yes. Budgets are small.
First, it's money. It's. The online platforms have really helped a lot of brands, and it's an incredible thing. Maybe it's timing that young brands are coming up now, and maybe they can only afford to, to market online, because traditional media is crazy expensive. You know, before we get our ads on TV or on radio or on newspapers, it's going to take quite a bit. But the flip side of that is that a lot of people are already online. The first thing most of us usually check when you wake up in the morning is probably Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I'm an Instagrammer completely. That's the first thing I look at, you know, when I wake up. So we try to find out where are people, and you know, with all the analytics available on social media platforms, you'll know if you're looking for people between the age of 24 and 35, you will find, you know, them at exactly where they are, which traditional media has never really been able to do. So I guess the challenge for a lot of us will be, you know, if we do not have the money to, and we don't, you know, to advertise on the traditional spaces, you know, then how you can't afford it. You can't afford it. So it's finding new ways. And an interesting thing I also realized from my advertising background is that, you know, brands used to talk at people or talk to people, and that has completely changed. You know, your consumer is probably talking a lot more about you than you are. So how do you gauge that tone? How do you turn, you know, the conversations to go in the way that you would like it to go? So it's an interesting time just to engage on the online space, but more specifically, monitor conversations around you and engage in those places where people, you know, are talking.
Okay. And I know most of the people know you as very successful entrepreneurs. And you know, the one question that maybe most of us ask ourselves is, as a woman, is it easier as compared to a man, Sheila?
Okay, well, I will say this. The story of the entrepreneur is not necessarily gender friendly. An entrepreneur is an entrepreneur. A heartbreak is a heartbreak, whether you're a man or a woman. But I think men are more stoic in that when they're knocked, before a man really just sits on the ground and gives up, he's really been pushed and knocked a couple of times. But for women, I don't know if it's part of our socialization that we give up a bit too fast, a bit too soon, or we're looking for affirmation and validation that yes, your business idea is really good, go for it. I mean, and I think for a lot of us, this is for me personally, if you've sat with an idea since 2007 and you're not working on it, then it would have to take a change in circumstance for you to actually go and start building this dream that you've always had, because if nothing happens, then you'll still stay in full-time employment. And so in many ways, I'm thankful that, you know, that's not there, because then there'd be no Rembesha, there'd be no Sheila News Out Loud. And so here is the deal. As a woman, you will always have to work harder, no matter what field, no matter what industry you're in. It's just the way it is. There will be some breaks that men will get that you sadly will not. Be prepared to work harder. Don't expect it to be easier just because you're
A woman. I mean, I totally agree. And entrepreneurship has no bias to, you know, to whatever gender. But I also find that men are a little more bold, you know, in asking for financing, in asking for collaboration, in asking for partnerships, and they don't think as small. And I don't want to mean that in a bad way, but men think big, and they go for the big things. You know, if they're starting a skincare line, trust me, it's going to be big. You know, they don't. I started off with what, 65,000 shillings. They wouldn't think of 65,000 shillings. The men I've spoken to are like, so how much was your capital? I'm like, I can't really tell you. They're like, what? Somebody actually told me, no, the minimum you should have put in to start this business is at least 2 million bob. Wow. And I'm like, I just wanted to start small. And he's like, why? And I'm like, I couldn't answer that question. You know, and I couldn't answer that question because I was too scared of going to the bank to ask for a loan. I said, let me start off with my salary and my savings and chip in every month. And he said, I mean, you know, there's people who believe in starting small and growing, but a lot of the men I've spoken to will go big from the beginning. They will take larger risks than we are able to. So I think women, as Sheila said, we have to work a little more harder, but I also think we need to dream bigger. You know, we need to be comfortable with doing things big and not just be comfortable with running a side hustle.
Exactly. No, go for it. And then don't be afraid to reach out to other women, because there's no shame in saying, Terryanne, I've reached a snag here and I need to get to this. Because we should be able
there's experiences that you have that can help me
Exactly.
overcome the hurdles that I
Yeah.
have. But I think we're all living in this day and age of I must succeed, and if
And I
have
must look
problems-
successful.
yeah, and I
Yes.
must look successful, and even though I'm dying, let me just keep dying looking successful. And it doesn't really help our
doesn't.
businesses. And if we can pull together and say, okay, maybe you go in that direction or pull a little harder here, and just offering each other help, whether it's financial, whether it's advice, then it ensures that we all stay in business longer.
Okay. All right. We're now going to take a short commercial break, then come back and talk about these wonderful products over here, Kiara Organics and Rembesha. Please do not go too far.
Welcome back to the Skin Therapy Show. I'm your co-host Roshanara Ibrahim, and I'm at the Mayfair Suites today with the one and only Terryanne Chebet. And I'm going to take her through a few more questions that maybe Sarah didn't touch up on. How long has Kiara been around for?
Just over 1.5 years.
Wow,
Just
that's
over
brilliant.
1.5
And I mean,
years.
to have been so successful in the market already is an achievement.
I thank God it's been an interesting journey. Sometimes you wake up and you're like, am I going to make it? Did I try this too soon?
Of course.
Should I have waited a little longer? Should I have looked for more money?
Yeah.
But it's been an interesting journey. It's been a great learning experience.
Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
as long as you've started and you're heading in some direction, it's
Yeah.
always good to know where you're going.
True.
What does Kiara mean?
Well, that's an interesting question. Kiara is actually, it's got two meanings depending on where you look at it. In North Africa, some North African language which I forget, it means a beautiful river.
Okay.
In Gaelic, which is a traditional Irish language from Ireland, it means ebony or beautiful black.
It's been great speaking to you.
Thank you, and lovely to speak to you.
Very
as well.
informative. You're a very ambitious lady, and I think someone I could really look up to. So it'd be amazing to be in touch,
Thank
and
you.
we look forward to having you on the show and seeing your success grow and grow and grow.
I'm humbled. Thank
Yeah?
you so much for
Thank
having
you.
me. I really appreciate it.
True. So for girls out there that look up to you, what advice would you give them?
I would say believe in your dreams and start working on them. Start working on them as soon as that passion, as soon as that fire is inside your belly. Because time is not waiting for people. And if you're lucky, time will wait for you. But time is not in the habit of sitting by the bus stop thinking,
Exactly.
"Aki huyu konjiani." No, it doesn't do that. It's not waiting for you. And so you've got to jump in there. The idea is there. Talk to women. And people like to say women are their own worst enemies. They don't support each other. That hasn't been my experience. For every woman that didn't support me or hasn't been as supportive as I expected of them, 10 have stood up and said, "No, Sheila, you can do it."
And that's
so
amazing.
believe that there are enough people who are lining up to help you bring that idea to life.
Of course. And the higher you climb, the higher the resilience. So you have to
Yes.
be prepared for that as well.
Exactly.
It's not always going to be hunky-dory.
No, nobody is going to give you, and if anybody gives you something and it's that easy, just as easily as you got it is how you're going to leave it, or how it's going to leave you.
Well, that's true. And it's been brilliant speaking to you. I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy to have had the opportunity to interview you.
Thank you. Wow, thank you. It's always interesting to be on the other side of the questions because I like to be the one asking the questions.
I could learn a lot from you.
Well, you've got my number, so hello.
I will, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, to all our viewers at home, I've been speaking to Sheila and she's taught us so much. I hope you've learned as much as I have, and we'll see you next time.